Why, hello, my Virgo risings. I think y'all are so cool, by the way. As a Capricorn rising, I just think Virgo risings are chef's kiss. Uh, welcome. Welcome to today's reading. Today is going to be a. Oh, you guys are moving? Try to get you guys. Okay. You guys are still now. uh, Welcome to today's reading, 2026 year ahead. I have decided to not edit my videos. I really want to keep it real. I want to keep it 100 and we're gonna push through or improvise with whatever happens. So please enjoy this raw footage of your 2026 year ahead. Today's video is going to be 7 major transits read by me and looking at your chart, just seeing how that's going to play out for you. And then astro dice. Because every chart's so nuanced, your ruler, my rulers, your degrees, my degrees, the next person's aspects are all so different. We have, let's say you're a Cancer sun, you could have in the first decan or the second decan, and it would still be true based off of your rising sign. So to account for those little nuances, I like to bring in a fate, chance, probability, whatever you want to call the dice, and get a really specific message for you. And then last but not least, I wanted to give you guys an important date from this book. This is a guidance book, and I wanted to give you guys a page of guidance with a very special / important date for you out of the new year. So kind of bring in some probability, chance, and then bring in some transits. So without further ado, let's go ahead and just jump right into it. I just want to say thank you guys for liking, for commenting, for supporting. If you guys came from Instagram, I see y'all, Moon Gang. And if you are new here, welcome. This is just the safe space astrology space. No pun intended. So let's go ahead and just jump right into it. The first transit that is appearing on this sticky note is Jupiter exiting Cancer this year. So my Virgo risings, y'all have Cancer in your 11th house. So Virgo and the path of being a Virgo rising, now that means that Virgo / Mercury is the captain of your chart. Something very special about Virgo is that it's connected to the gut, which means that Virgo risings are on a path of trusting their gut instinct when they speak, in their worldview, in their thoughts. And I do think that when it comes to manifestation and evolution, it's very personal for Virgo risings. I find that Virgo risings, of course, there is this, out of all the signs, I would say Libra and Leo are up there, maybe even a little bit Pisces, but Virgo really is the one that I feel like has this vision in their head, and they would love to execute it perfectly, like that, all the way to the tiniest detail. This makes for, with an 11th house being in such an intuitive sign, that it's really important to trust our gut instinct, and we're very, very imaginative when it comes to manifestation. So manifestation could have been really, really big for you guys in the second half of 2025. Perhaps even seeing the larger picture in terms of maybe you guys went to old vision boards and were looking at the old vision boards, old journals, perhaps even old conversations with people of when we and how we used to be different, and kind of it's kind of taking stock, Jupiter moving through the 11th house, of seeing the big picture of what we have manifested, what came true, what methods worked for us in terms of evolution. Like, did reading about these topics helped? Did watching content about these different topics helped? Was it the certain people that we met that influenced us? So it's revisiting manifestation techniques. It's revisiting how we've evolved so far and where we want to go. The 11th house is very future orientated. However, 11th house in Cancer is very nostalgic orientated. So it actually gives a really cool flair where I feel like we get to look at our journey and the memories of what has happened, and that gives us actually faith. I think that that gives us a little bit of being able to nurture our evolution, because we know what we're capable of, and we know that we see the vision very clearly, the Virgo rising, right? So I see some more right now. Jupiter is retrograded, right? So it's going backwards in Cancer. This is closing out a lot of emotional cycles in 2026, perhaps especially with friendships, with who has been in our life. It kind of reminds me of, when we graduate and we just know that we're not going to see all those people in those classes anymore, and we don't know what's ahead. We may have like a few people that are near us, but we're kind of wondering where we're going, who we may meet there, or who's coming into our life. And if you haven't been thinking about that, do know that Jupiter, once it goes direct, it'll be expanding a lot in terms of some new communities, some new people, some new resources, some new ideas, some new content that's going to help be the thing that is absorbed into us and that will evolve, help in our evolution towards the next place, towards the next goals. So the 11th house is also income from our career. So that is amazing too. That's very, very auspicious in terms of collecting and really nurturing and watering the income that is coming from our career. And there also could be like friends and dating partners could be a focus right now too, like prospect dating partners, new friends, new groups, meeting lots of new people. And this is opening up a lot of doors for us. We also could be minimizing drama. We also could be, really zeroing in on certain opportunities. So we are allowing, what is going to fall away that doesn't serve us, that's not evolving where we're going, or doesn't make us feel good, doesn't make us feel happy. That's being easily melted away. And then we're going to have the second transit, which is Jupiter entering Leo. So I think Virgo risings are so cool, largely because Leo is in the 12th house. The 12th house is so much what makes the rising sign even happen, and it is once we really find out about our 12th house, especially, us, we're into astrology. You and me watching, we are not raw dogging life. We have this ancient way of life called checking your astrology transits and being in tune with your chart. And so the 12th house to me is that house that when we really understand the 12th house, that's when the captain of our chart has the foundation to do exactly what it sets out to do. I just gave this example in a story. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you guys know that I love doing Q&As on my Instagram stories. So if you ever want to follow me on Instagram, I do Q&As a lot, and you just submit a question and then your question could get picked. And somebody was asking about the rising signs and just what it means to be the captain of the chart. Just like the captain of a ship, your guys' is Mercury and Virgo, right? So your captain is a Virgo archetype, right? A Virgo person. You can make it whoever you want, whatever you want. And that is the captain of our chart. When the captain is being activated, when we act in Virgo energy, when we're organized, when we have strong discernment, when we are very sovereign in what we think, we feel, not easily influenced or swayed, we know when to discern to keep things to ourselves versus when it's time to move, when it's time to speak, right? Virgo is very, very calculated. When we are in this calculated nature, when we are looking at things practically, we're looking at things strategically, we're going based off of our gut instinct, even if we don't have all the facts, there is that intuition that's really strong. That's when the rest of our chart lights up. That's when the people who are in charge of inventory on the ship and in charge of, navigating and whatever else, like full run steamship starts to move when the captain of the chart gets exercised, because that's our life path. So the more we invest into our health, the more we invest into our wellness, the more that we build practical stability, the more that we are our own person, right? Virgo is very much very, very sovereign. That being said, and being adaptable, right? Being adaptable, communicative, very effective communication. That is when the rest of our chart lights up. I believe that Leo in the 12th house is this energy of, if we master the 12th house and like accepting the fact that we're a star, taking up space, being unapologetic with our talents, with our, and kind of coming back to a lighthearted place and kind of mastering eliminating drama and not getting sucked into it, and including our inner child, right? That it's also not all about work with Virgo. There's also a time for pleasure. There's a time to be flirty and to enjoy good music, good wine, good vibes with friends, and go out on dates and feel the sunshine and perform and create and just fool around, and just that energy. It helps to assist so that Virgo can, I just saw 1112, which I heard that if you see an angel number, but the last number is like turned because of the clock, that's a solidification of the OG angel number. So the OG angel number would be 1111, but I saw 1112. So I think this is really solidifying for you guys. I'm gonna just take that intuitively and just put that out there if anybody wants to also take that. That inner child, it's essentially like, just by the Leo 12th house being like, woo, I love to play, we played all day, then Virgo can be like, all right, it's time to come back inside and do your homework. Like, that's the balance. And I think with Jupiter moving through the 12th house, it could be a very nostalgic time, because the 12th house is introspection. And so we do tend to think about the past, but we can also just think about the future and the present when we introspect. We just are kind of looking within of who we want to be, what we're letting go of. And it really is this like shuffling process of, some things are going to like divinely end, and some things are going to be brought anew, right? This reminds me whenever we have a 12th house transit, but especially Jupiter, which is all about expansion, and Jupiter does love being in the 12th house, right? Because Jupiter is a deep thinker, and Jupiter loves to see the bigger picture, and it loves for us to grow, master, even more, learn by doing, and that's how we become the teacher, right? And so by introspecting, there'll be a lot of introspection. So this could feel a little bit more like the area in life in which we are expanding upon a lot is happening more behind the scenes, or it's just going to be about the topics of spirituality, the topics of our desires. This can also be a time where people may be asking us too, like, what do you believe in? Or where do you see yourself going? Or, it could be a really big transition from one life to another. I always find this too. Like when Jupiter moves through the 12th house, there is such like a ending, right? An ending. So it reminds me of, and it's very much like internal. It's very much like saying a goodbye to a version of ourselves. There can be more external things going on, which we'll take a look at the other parts of your chart, like moves or getting married or, going away to school or whatever it is. There is, and I'm sorry, my iPad is on a very large tripod, and if I even like bump a little bit, she'll move, but I think I moved the cord, so it won't do it anymore. My Virgos, if hopefully you're like you're doing the dishes or doing yoga or something, and you're not seeing the little iPad move, but regardless of that little film production comment, going back, this is a time of really letting go of the past too. I think that anything that has weighed heavy on our heart is going to be let go, or even if our heart has been a little bit more dim, let's just say the lights aren't like bright and shining like Vegas. It's just been quiet, right? Like we haven't perhaps even had our heart, like matters of the heart or talents and fun and dating and things like that. We're really letting go of a lot of fears with that. And I do know that Virgo risings are lover boys and girls. Like, they're as cool as they come off, as cool as a cucumber as they come off, they have a Pisces descendant. So I think that this is going to be before you know, we'll get to it, right? I do think that that is Jupiter in the 12th house. And also any past life talents too, or just past life power, like subconscious power. Like, what we really crave is to be a star, and we crave to do that in a way that is like not cringe, I guess, when we have a Virgo rising. But little does Virgo rising know that, like, the solidification of being very poised, when expressing raw energy, when being yourself, when taking up space and shining is the combo. That's the key. Third transit, we have Saturn entering Aries. So Aries is going to be having Saturn transiting through it for around 2 years. So this is going to be a more so 2-year transit, and you guys have Aries in your 8th house. So Saturn moving through the 8th house, this is really when, because the 8th house has to do with deeper level soulmates, merging. So if you have merged with anybody, right? So if you're married, obviously you're merged. If you have moved in with somebody and like there's combined finances, this has been merged. It can be like merging through physically, like actually money, actually living together, actually also, doing the dirty, like physically merging. But this also can be anybody that we've emotionally merged with, right? Like very, very close to us. And this is going to be something where, with the 8th house, it can be a little scary. And that's not bad, right? It's like, I don't see it as like bad or good. It's just like when we have a little bit of being a little bit afraid, that's just all that like is in the 8th house, right? Is the taboo, the occult, right? And that's just because the taboo is not as talked about in society, right? So like we don't always talk to everybody about our finances with our partner, right? That's just not something, and that's because people could take advantage of us, right? And people could judge us, and people could, so it can be, the 8th house is the house of intimacy, right? So if we've merged with somebody financially, physically, emotionally, mentally, this Saturn is going to weed out anybody that is close to us, that is not, doesn't have our best interest in mind, that we're not seeing clearly, and it also will refine any, like, let's say you want this person in your life, and like things are chill, like you're happy in that connection with that person that's very close to you. This is something where it's going to be, we're going to take more responsibility, right? We're going to take more responsibility, and we're going to be put back into our own power. And this is kind of a personal power placement too, where Virgo risings are just extremely powerful. They also are very powerful in bed. They make powerful investments. They are very, I think, loyal to the people that they are close to, right? And Saturn's just going to make sure, it's kind of like a father checking in, making sure that your room's clean or your homework's done. Like if there's any funny business, if there's anything on our part or their part that could lead to destruction, that could lead to imbalances in power dynamics, that could lead to sudden loss, that could lead to, secrets, or, even if we haven't, like, kind of like on the flip side, more of like the light aspects of the 8th house, if we've kept ourselves from like trusting people again, let's say that like we have a lot of Scorpio discernment, right? And it's like, that's not me. Like I don't keep people around that, I feel like there's secrets. I've really double checked. I've really had deep, intimate conversations with people. and things like that. And we have taken control over, our investments, the people in our life, and we've gotten to the truth. We've asked for the truth. We're not worried about anything that's hiding or lurking. Then I would say this would be, especially if we're like not super, if we're not involved with anybody like that, right? We don't have, we're not like merging like that. We're just kind of doing our own thing. This is going to be when we're allowing ourselves to trust again, or trust deeper than we've ever trusted somebody before, or we're investing, and we're becoming more comfortable with investing more into than we maybe ever have. Now, again, with Aries and the eighth house is major desires. So yes, Saturn is moving through here, which could also make us very, how would I say this? Like, we could meet souls, like we could be connecting, having really intense experiences around intimacy. And if we've been like avoiding intimacy, or if we have like gone really overboard with intimacy before, and like we've revealed too much, or like, if we've made like some mistakes along the way, like we're like, man, I really want to healthily like have healthy intimacy, a healthy dynamic, because really the seventh house is labels, and yes, it's a relationship, and it's like very much like what's on paper, like we're married, like they're this type of partner, they have these qualities, and this is the life we live. And eighth house is everything behind the scenes. It is quite literally everything behind the scenes. And Virgo risings have a huge capacity to love so deeply, like so deeply. So I think that this is an activation of this. Chiron has been going through the eighth house, so perhaps there have been some painful experiences with getting close to people, or maybe we hurt other people, however it is. Scorpio, this is like one of the drama houses of our chart, right? However, this is also where deep love, like we would die for that person, right? But that's also dramatic, right? So it's just like a dramatic chart. I think, this is going to be where we take back a lot of our own power within dynamics as well. So this is when we undo a lot of things within intimacy that we weren't like really aware of either. So for example, when we connect with people, maybe for example with Aries, let's just use an example where maybe after we have somebody over, we're not the type to call, right? We're not the type to call right afterwards and be like, I had such an amazing time. Whether this is with a friend or, anything like that, where like you had deep convos, and it's like, you know what? I desire to like let that person know that I loved our conversation. I love that. But maybe sometimes Aries, can be like, maybe I shouldn't. This is like Saturn moving through here is very much like, all right, you know what? I feel like I'm going to take responsibility over the situation. I really desire, that was my raw thought process, was just to call and just let them know. And then you call somebody and you just like, from now on, whenever you have a deep conversation, whether it's like with your kid about like something they're struggling with, or like let's say you're a teacher and a student comes up to you and they're struggling with something, and it's perhaps like we get in the art of like catching up with people right afterwards and being doing that, right? So it's like intimacy, it's like where we're becoming a little bit more responsible with our dark shadows, but also like expressing what we really want, what we really desire, and acting upon that without fear, right? And anything that like can hold us back, we are completely like crushing through obstacles there. So That's what I would say. We could even have like changes in values because of this, right? Changes in habits because of this. This can be in so many different areas in our personal life of just taking personal power over how we spend our time and what we're investing into, who we're investing into. But it also can be in our deep dynamics with people where perhaps our values are changing. Perhaps, there's a way to create more close bonds and a way to or whatever boundaries we need as well, right? This is boundaries within intimacy. Like maybe some couples, for example, like are free, like feel free to talk about previous relationships. And I know many couples who they just never talk about it. So it's like defining the boundaries, but we even have to be like willing to talk about it, and willing to think about it and willing to do something about it, right? In order to just have the intimacy that we want, right? And I do think that eighth housers with Aries in it, Virgo risings, really desire intimacy, right? So then we have Neptune in Aries, and it's going to create more security, by the way. It will create more security. It's going to allow the person to feel more powerful because they're not with the Aries, Saturn Aries transit. It's going to allow for the person, Virgo rising, you, to feel more powerful because we've gotten so real with ourselves that we can be super real with other people. As well as we stick to our values. We made life more simple by doing what we consider the right thing in the way that we treat people and in the way that which we connect, and that's really taking care of our investments, right? Not just the outer ones, but also with who's in our life and, how we're connecting with people. So then we have the fourth transit, which is Neptune in Aries. So Neptune's going to be moving through the eighth house and the second house too. So Neptune can give us this ability to feel like anything is possible. Neptune's going to be here for a long time. As we have Saturn in Aries for 2 years, Neptune's going to be in Aries for many, many years. So this is actually these first 2 years, 2026, 2027, especially, this is going to be when we lay down a lot of these structures that we're laying down, like the boundaries, we're laying down the foundation, we're really cleaning up shop so that like for the rest of the time when Neptune is in Aries and Saturn is moved into Taurus, Neptune is going to have a lot more to work with in terms of, we already have this foundation. Sometimes Neptune is very foggy because it's boundless, right? So, I mean, it's the imagination, it's dreams, where it's kind of that energy where we may be missing some boundaries. However, Saturn's going to really help to implement those. So, being sure about what you want's going to come up and solidifying that. And then Neptune is going to allow for us to feel more open, to feel softer, to feel, like we can love again. Neptune is just like the Disney movie of planets. It's like we can believe in happy endings. We can believe that if you're from a small town or no matter what your past is, no matter what the history is, the story is, Neptune is kind of the hero's journey of reaching for the stars and what our heart really wants. And that's not only going to be within our investments, that's not only going to be with the people that are close to us, but it's also going to be in terms of our own power and and that's going to lead to more security, right? And I think it's going to let go of a lot of expectations of being like perfect or being able to have like full control or being able to know and like anticipate what's going to happen. I think that it's going to allow for a lot of peace with Libra opposing the eighth house in the second house. It's going to make our life simpler by unapologetically just going for what we want at the time. And we'll get to that transit, but a large part of it's going to be healing, like faith that we could have true stability, faith that we could have, be secure in all different ways of our life. But moving on to the transit number 5, this is going to be the North and South nodes. So the North and South nodes are currently in Virgo and Pisces. So you guys have had the North node moving through your 7th house, and you've had the South node moving through your 1st house. So a little bit about this energy, which this is going to be the second half, or actually, no, this was all of 2025, and it's going to be the nodes still in Virgo and Pisces until halfway through 2026. And so that being said, North node moving through the 7th house, this is a lot of fated energies just in general, like meeting different people, expanding our horizons and our destiny in terms of the people that are in our life. So it could have felt like people have just been important in 2025, like thinking about our lifestyle and who we want by our side to live our lifestyle with. So for example, it's Libra, the 7th house, right? Some people love having their girlfriends in their life. Like they just have a squad. They could picture themselves and they picture their life. And when they picture their life and the future of their life, they do think about their girlfriends, right? And that's just an example. And another one can be, as an example for North Node in the 7th house, is thinking about a marriage partner and a partner, and thinking about how if we want to travel the world, or, you know, want to take many vacations a year, we would like somebody who likes to travel, right? Who is not going to be overly stressed out, who is going to have maybe some knowledge to help, you know, book flights, or is willing to, you know, kind of get on a plane and travel for 12 hours or just have a job, right? So it's kind of like we're thinking about who fits in our life, but we're also thinking about what we want. And there could be a lot of fated experiences to help us define exactly that. So this could have been like a wildest dreams coming into our realm of imagination too, in terms of lifestyle. Like we really could have been dreaming like we're going to be on yachts somewhere, just letting our crypto money stack up, and, you know, like this is what I want. Like I want early retirement. I want moved across the world. I want to just travel. I want to sell everything I own and just do that. I mean, we're talking things beyond like what's normal in society, or like what people would kind of side eye you for and be like, you think you're gonna do that? And Pisces is like, yeah, you know what? Not my fault you don't got razzle dazzle magic in your imagination. I do, and I am going to go for it. I just kind of have to have the plan or take the initiative within the 7th house to connect myself with the right people and work towards my version of success. And we'll just see what happens when I have faith and I keep the vision. So that's kind of what's been going on. And then we're going to have the North Node moving into the 6th house. So now that we've kind of seen our options and perhaps even solidified some characters for our dream life, or, you know, maybe people got let go of in 2025 as well, or we were kind of like seeing our relationship life and seeing like perhaps there was like a ending or like a grief, right, period for some that could have happened, or even leaning into more unconditional love, like coming back, making up, right? Like we can do this, like energy doesn't have to be, but this also could just be like, there's so much more for me and my partner in our life. Let's go and do more. Let's go and end these certain cycles, start new ones, right? I think this is when a lot of those the opportunities to kind of change things up in terms of relationships and in terms of, you know, our own identity, how we're viewing life and things of that nature is going to be kind of solidified and moving into daily reality, right? So this is now a focus less so on a macro scale and more so on a micro scale. So we've seen who we want in our life, what lifestyle we want, what the success looks like. And now we are going to see every day what is really working here. And this could be a totally, completely different life that we live every day than we had in the past, than we have thus far. North Node in Aquarius is lots of change, right? It's major, major change. And a lot of times too, it's also the house where we say like, if there's ever been a time where we said like, oh, I'll never be somebody who like just goes shopping with my girl all day and just hold the bags and just do that. Or I wouldn't be somebody who, for example, would like love to cook and just, do those things. Like the area of life that we have Aquarius in is the area of life of which we like to do things non-traditionally. So we can say those things like never, but even if we've ever said never to something that was just really cool, or the never came from an ego place of, yeah, no, like I would never jump out of a plane. Like, honestly, like it just never interests me. But like there's this like fear that we have of heights, but like we love to drive fast cars. We love to go on roller coasters. Like we love that. Never say never when it comes to Aquarius. This is when we break free from like any of society's expectations of us, friends or family's voices in our head, or even like our own thoughts that like for somehow got into us through what we absorbed. And it says breakthrough. Like, yes, you can do that thing. And it may even be like we're coming back to, in a way, to like we're wrapping up like a section of our work life, whereas we're wrapping up a section of our job, our work life, what we the things that we're doing to be productive. We could be revisiting that. We could be finding new and different ways that fit with our lifestyle. So for example, when I started traveling for longer periods of time, I had always gymmed, and then that was like part of my wellness. Was I love to gym. I've been an athlete forever, but not having access to a gym, I really made me focus a bit more on like meditating and a bit more on what food I'm consuming and stretching and like other things that I think I just like never would have gotten into. And I think that I used to say probably, or at least I think it now to myself, that I would have thought that I always would be in the gym, that I would never give that up, right? That what helps my mental health. So that's just an example. This is going to have to do with wellness. This is going to have to do, Virgo risings, with your day-to-day life, like maybe what time you wake up. Like for example, if you trade crypto and you're on like, or stocks or whatever, and let's say you wake up at 6 a.m. and like you go to bed at this certain time every day, but it's time to take a vacation. It's time to travel. You've made a lot of money for yourself, and it's time to go out. And like now, like the time zones are different, and maybe, you're staying up later, or like you might like be more awake at night, like, or kind of like just like including new and different ways of structuring your day, of what productivity looks like, of what wellness means for you in a way that's going to feel so liberating, so free. We really could be trying different things out, and that's just going to make us feel so free, so liberated, and living in our authentic truth. And a big part of this too is going to be with the South Node moving through the 12th house, of just slaying our fears, of very much that slaying our ego. This will probably be some sort of an ego death, these eclipses that are coming up for you guys in 2026. But it also could be like letting go of anything that is like keeping us from faith as well. I would say that, and really activating our past life gifts, like amazing. More talents, like more just having fun, being open-hearted. Although with freedom comes these other things, right? So I think that's what I have there. And then you could also meet past life soulmates. Like this is really, really big for meeting big soulmate energy. And I'm not talking a karmic. I'm not talking about like, this is like deep soul level love, like 12th house transits, 8th house transits. But that doesn't surprise me either, because Virgo risings have Pisces descendants. So, very spiritual area of life is our love life. And sometimes there can be like fears with relationships, right? Because whatever house we have Pisces in can be where we have some fears, but we also have like beautiful gifts, like beautiful desires. But that's just like the subconscious, right? That's like the opposite, like the shadow, like our fears are right next to our desires, right? And then we have Uranus entering Gemini, which is going to be your guys' 10th house. How exciting. Things are changing in your career life. This makes sense that some of the first events that are going to change your career life for a long time are going to appear in your work life and your day-to-day routines. Like there's going to be some major changes with work, some major changes that's going to affect our daily life. Like if we've been living with our parents and with family for a long time, we're going to be independent and out on our own or something like that. I mean, that is a totally different day-to-day life. And, you know, Uranus moving through the 10th house, this also is an upgrade to our legacy. So again, like when do you want to retire? Are you going to retire? Like, are we going to be married? Do we want to be married? Do we want to be, what type of person do we want to be remembered as? Like clean, good with people, creative, a humanitarian. When we have it in Gemini, typically we want to be remembered for our intelligence. We want to be remembered for our ideas. We want to be remembered for the person who like could talk to everybody too. Like, even if that's not what we want, that's inevitably what happens. Just Virgo rising and Gemini midhaven, so much of the life path and the legacy is around our mind, is around our intelligence, is around our ability to connect with others. We are extraordinary when it comes to connecting with other people. We can connect with all different walks of life. For many different reasons, different cultures, different age ranges, different backgrounds. So just being able to like roll with the punches and dices of life. I think Uranus is going to bring some major unexpected upgrades to your family life, your home life, your career life, your life path. Would not be surprised at all, Virgo risings, if you are going to move and travel a lot and just have a lot of new experiences that help us sink into our own version of home within ourself, right? So I definitely see daily life changing. I'm seeing home changing. I'm seeing career changing. I'm seeing like ego death and letting go of anything that's holding us back from like what we truly desire, which I think is the gap between like where we're going and where we are. The gap really is, what do we truly desire, and lifestyle, person, and will we allow ourselves to get really intimate and deep with ourselves and let go of any ego defenses so that we can 100% invest in exactly what we want. And that's money, that's partners, that's time, that's our energy, that's our life, right? And then we could also, this can also be like you becoming a very influential person, right, on social media as well. If you're into vocal stuff, if you make music, if you want to teach, if you want to, anything like that, very, very influential for that as well. So then last but not least, we have the 7th transit, which is Chiron entering Taurus. So I mentioned this one a little bit in the beginning. I do think that believing our beliefs are getting really healed. I think that there could be some triggers that come up for us to heal them, and like very much around the deeper questions of life. Why did I do this? And why does the world work in this way? Are soulmates real? Right? I don't know why that made me laugh. What's also healing is if we've had like very concrete beliefs throughout our life around how the world works and how our world works, what's possible for us, and what we deserve, like what we are deserving of, this is getting healed to a new level. This is getting healed and our mind is opening up, our legacy is opening up. There's so much destiny involved that really, I think like the only area of life where we are going to want to put like conscious effort is going to be with the ego, right? Of allowing ourselves like to be cringe, right? Allowing ourselves to be romantic, allowing ourselves to just take up space and to just be heart-led and let our inner child lead, right? Which can, sometimes I get it. Sometimes I feel like that could probably be a little scary. Like I think about little Haley and like she's so extroverted and sometimes she was introverted, but you know, she's just so bold as a person. And, you know, of course, with the Capricorn rising, I relate as a Virgo rising where it's like all the fire in my chart. I'm like, please don't embarrass me. Just like, I want to be valid in terms of like, you know, being a practical sound mind and just like, yeah, you know what? It's not, there's a level of awareness, I should say, right? And I think that Chiron entering Taurus is going to be, you know what? I deserve to take these opportunities. I deserve to take this relationship. I deserve to have this money stacked up. I deserve to enjoy myself, to have pleasure, to not work so hard, to not take myself so seriously, you know, to just let my heart want what my heart wants. My heart wants to take 2 months off on a vacation. Okay. My heart wants to, I think I'm falling for this person. And yes, I remember what happened last time, but you know what? Okay, I have faith, you know, that XYZ. And that XYZ, like, we could really be changing our beliefs, right? Where it's like, you know, I used to believe that, like, things were just chance, that, you know, or that I wasn't a lucky person or whatever. But you know what? Now I think I'm believing that things are happen for a reason. And I think the more that I ask myself questions, the more that I'm opening up and solidifying my beliefs around, well, when there's more variables, you know, I guess that my beliefs are changing. You know, I do think that I'm a very lucky person, actually, right? So this is very optimistic. This is finding the faith again and believing that our brain, like, can expand past, and our consciousness can expand past any limitations that we built or formed along the journey, right? The walls are coming down. That's what I really see too. I really see the walls coming down, just like with ourselves. Like we sometimes it's like we build these walls and then at some point, like when we're alone, we're introspecting, right? It's like, okay, I'm safe. But it's like, do we really have what we desire? And I just see like this image in my head of like somebody just kicking through the bricks, and like honestly they're just falling apart. They weren't cemented in, they weren't glued together, they were just kind of stacked because the person, Virgo risings, I see this with like some other rising signs too, but it's like we can only anticipate or like take control of things for so long. Our feelings, our desires, our own evolution is going to want to take us to experience new things. And I just feel like this year is the very, very first page of a new chapter of just like kicking down those walls. Like I feel like that's the intro to your guys's book or your guys's movie, is just somebody kicking down these bricks, and beyond is just like, it's a little foggy, but it's beautiful. Like the picture of what can be available beyond the wall which we had, and that is the legacy waiting for you guys. So that is everything that I have for the 7 transits. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let's go ahead and move to part 2. So this is going to be the Astro Dice, my spirit guides. Beautiful, intelligent, practical, smart, makes other people's lives easier, is not appreciated ever enough. All the Virgo risings want is a thank you. Their spirit guides too. Please let us know anything we should know for the year ahead that either wasn't talked about or what they should really focus on, just a main theme. Oh my gosh. Okay. I love this. So the main theme that's coming out, which I do think we talked about a little bit, the transit for you guys, the big one that might apply to your guys' charts, you guys might have 6th house placements. You guys might have Aquarius placements. You guys might have Uranus in a house that is going to be activated by one of these transits. That's what I would say. You guys may have Virgo placements, or sixth house placements besides the Virgo rising. You guys may have Aquarius placements, and you guys may have like a lot of like Uranus aspects perhaps, or like Uranus in the first house or something like that. But the thing that I feel like the dice are saying is change in our daily life, and change in work, and change in what makes us overall like well, is completely getting reinvented. Like, do not be afraid to experiment with this, because it's going to lead towards so much evolution of like all the right people, all the right opportunities, your manifestations and wishes, and just for anything that you would like in life. That's like the goal. That's like the key, right? And it's just telling me too, the sixth house is the practice makes perfect house. So if you guys have been wanting a certain level of freedom, definitely practice makes perfect when it comes to, you know, your work life, your productivity, your habits, things that are going to support you in achieving the dream lifestyle, right? So that is what I see there. And then let's go ahead and just pull a page from this soul guidance book. So I'm just going to, right here, I saw May 29th. So May 29th is your guys' special date, or a very important date. So that is Gemini. And it says your message of guidance is, even though your physical reality, which is the sixth house, may seem chaotic and unsettling at times, maintaining your inner beliefs are paramount to remaining grounded and instilling peace into your world. You're an alchemist and have the power to transmute negative ions into positive ones, among other things. The new world needs you to know that your beliefs are true regardless of what your physical reality is currently projecting. The physical world is always the last to align with the higher dimensions. Your beliefs shape and configure your physical reality, which can take more time to catch up and align into your physical realm. In the meantime, the most beneficial, powerful ability you have is to maintain your vision, beliefs, and truth. Your beliefs are the foundation for creating your new world. Create intentionally, on purpose, knowing what you believe to be true in every moment. And your affirmation at the bottom is, I believe in my vision regardless of what my current physical reality represents. So, time is quantum. Time is so quantum, and do know that our vision, your ability to envision and consciously, actively taking steps in reality towards that vision, practice makes perfect, will create the new reality. And that's all that I have for you guys. So thank you so much, my Virgo risings, for watching. If you guys made it all the way to the end, please put any sort of an animal that lives in the water. Why not? And I will comment an animal that lives in the water back. So I know y'all are the real ones. If you want to join in on the Moon Gang and join the community, go ahead and subscribe, and you won't miss any other magical surprise things on YouTube to come in 2026. I just love and appreciate your guys' support so much. Please take it easy. Please take care. And I'll see you guys in a later video.